It's one of the most controversial topics in world sport. South African athlete Caster Semenya is taking on World Athletics' governing body in a legal case that transcends sport, science and gender. We look at both sides of the argument and ask if runners should be forced to take testosterone suppressants in order to compete at the highest level. Also on the programme, we're with two England captains today. First up, Steph Horton, who's looking to lead Manchester City to their first trophy of 2019. And we're with Sarah Hunter too, as England move closer to another Six Nations Grand Slam. But first, Caster Semenya is one of the most high-profile female runners of all time. But her success has not been without controversy. The South African middle-distance runner is fighting new rules that will ban athletes with naturally high levels of testosterone from taking part in certain races unless they take drugs to suppress the hormone. Semenya's case against the IAAF is being heard at the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland right now, and it has split athletes, gender activists and scientists. So let's take a look at the new rules. Well, the new limits of testosterone set by the IAAF will have a direct impact on athletes like Semenya who have different levels of sexual development. The amount of testosterone allowed has been halved from 10 to 5 nanomoles, meaning athletes like the two-time Olympic champion can't compete. The testosterone limit applies to any track race between 400 metres and a mile. The IAAF pointed to a study from British scientists in 2017 claiming athletes with more than 5 nanomoles of testosterone in their system can have up to 26% more muscle strength, creating an unfair playing environment, as lawyer Jonathan Taylor, who helped draft the rules, explains.
Men have bigger bones, muscles, more oxygen in their blood. The reason for that is their higher levels of testosterone, and the reason for that is they have testes, whereas women have ovaries. Having a man compete against a woman would be like having a heavyweight boxer compete against a flyweight boxer. So we have separate competition categories to make sure women have an equal chance to excel, because that benefits the sport, it benefits the women and it benefits society. The issue is that we have certain cases where there are women recognised as at law who have testes and therefore high levels of testosterone and all of the physical advantages that men have that creates the need for the performance competition division in the first place. The IAAF wants those athletes to be allowed to compete in their chosen category as females, but it also wants to keep competition in that category fair. Without restriction, athletes with DSDs have set more than 100 records at national, continental, at world level, and they've won more than 100 medals at national, continental, international and Olympic level. The competition isn't fair, the playing field is not level.
Well, Semenya and her legal team insist these new rules are unfair for a number of reasons. Firstly, the events targeted in the new rules. Semenya, an 800 and 1500 metre runner, wouldn't be able to compete, but other track and field athletes such as 100-metre sprinters or hammer and discus throwers can, even if they have high levels of testosterone. The South African claims she's being unfairly targeted. Secondly, Semenya and other women would be required to take drugs to lower their hormone levels, something the South African government claims is a gross violation of human rights. And finally, critics claim the IAAF rules are a false interpretation of a complicated gender issue. Semenya's lawyers have released a statement saying she is unquestionably a woman, asking others to celebrate her genetic makeup and achievements. The ruling also covers trans athletes. Charlie Martin is a transgender racing driver who's taken hormone suppressants. She says Caster hasn't done anything wrong.
To have her whole career called into question purely because of who she is and the way she was born, I mean, it must be incredibly difficult. As an athlete, your mental side of your approach is just as important as the physical, really. To have this level of scrutiny and the world, you know, putting the pressure on you like this must be difficult for anyone to go under. I feel sad for sport in general, really, because, you know, Caster has not done anything wrong. She's just purely, she is who she is. And, you know, if we look at sport throughout the ages, you know, there have been men and women who have excelled in all areas, maybe because they were just naturally stronger, because they grew up in a climate that enabled them to, perform better in certain countries, because they had maybe physical characteristics that perhaps allowed them to excel in their particular sport. Caster hasn't actually done anything wrong. She's just an athlete. Speaking from my own perspective, I can't say exactly for Caster, but for me, I took hormone suppressors throughout transition, and I had regular blood tests to check my levels. This brought my testosterone levels down to average levels for a cisgender female. It's pretty well documented the physical effects that taking hormone suppressors can have on trans women or on athletes in general.
Well, this was Semenya leaving the tribunal in Switzerland last night. The hearing's expected to last until the end of the week, but it could take until the end of March before a judgment is reached. The new rules are currently suspended until the Court of Arbitration for Sport makes a decision. Follow Sky Sports News for updates as we keep you across this story.